Is the boom. We're back. All right. So, uh, this will be a really good exercise for me. I just did some backyard bottle cutting with my Nodachi for the first time in 3.5 years since I busted out my sword and done that. And I gotta say, it felt really, really good. It felt really, really good to get outside and yeah, to get in that bit of exercise, that meditation, that concentration. That was really good for me. It feels really, really good to have moved my body like that. It's been a while. It's been a long, long while, and that is hands down the best exercise I've ever found for myself is sword training. There's something absolutely fundamental about it. I don't like violence. I never want to harm another individual, but as a member of the human race, we have to embrace our potential for danger and damage so we can actually understand it and have it under control. So it's very important that we tap into our dark side so that we can recognize it when it comes up. I mean, that whole story about there are two wolves. You feed the light one or the dark one. You feed them both, motherfuckers, so that when you need them, they're there. You don't want to leave yourself as half a person. That's awful. So yeah, this is going to be me reviewing what I'm doing in this previous video, which is as a martial artist, I should be doing that anyways. So I'm going to be checking myself out and critiquing myself and seeing where I messed up, like bad camera angles and feeling the need to show off an Adachi, lining up size, horrible choice of shorts, really bad, really, really bad, and meh, decent draw. I love my Nodachi because it makes me look short. It makes me look like I'm a little dude. I am 6'2" and 210 pounds. So my guy compensator there is very appropriately sized for me. Like standing on the ground, he comes up to my nipple. Big fan of him. Eh, just swinging around a piece of metal at this point. I didn't drop my knees. My steps weren't good. Shoulder movements, I don't know, could have been better. Let's see if I get anything decent out of this instead of just hacking. Like I said, really out of practice. Yep. Now, yeah, I'm not happy with that. So, according to Miyamoto Musashi, the trick to being able to cut, especially with his one-handed style, is to keep your shoulders loose, keep your shoulders relaxed, and that to me is a powerful lesson in just masculinity as a whole. Like you got to stay loose to cut through the bullshit. You know, you got to keep them relaxed, and you can find the power to get through most things. You can just stay calm, cool, and collected. Something I'm not always great at, but this helps get me into that headspace. So let's see. Next one. Now I'm using a really rickety pole to cut on. It's unbalanced as shit. I just sort of whipped it up and cobbled it together, and it's even missing one of the feet that I put on it. And I like the extra wobble on it because if I have a proper cut, and you are not going to see one on here, then the bottle will not move from the stand. I mean, the one cut that I have that's really good is where I actually managed to slice through the post. But I definitely got to get back into practice. You're supposed to be slicing meat, so when you say cut, it's not a chop. It's a slice. You're coming out with that curved part and you're pulling back. So that's me meditating, trying to get my concentration on. Yep, breathing, trying to drop the pressure, take the tension out of my shoulders, and decent. I could have dropped my weight. I don't think the mechanics in my arms had quite gotten there yet. I think I slowly start to figure out as I work it out later on. Yep. Looks like I'm having some emotions and stuff, right? Processing through. Trying to just trying to relax into it. Okay, buddy. You can do it. Oh, that was that one. Yeah, that was that one. I nicked it, I biffed it, and yeah, this should be a fun shot. Now that the pressure is off the bottle, it makes it a little bit harder to cut. Like it's gonna have a little bit of give. But again, if my motion is right, if my breathing is right, if I'm like, you know, there and present, like I've been trying to be, then I'm gonna be able to go through it no problem. Nope, nope, did not happen. One of the things that fucked me up back in the day when I was training is I read this little snippet that the resolute acceptance of death that the samurai so often talk about was them just being a little buzzed as they went into the battlefield. So, like I saw the statue of a samurai who had a sake cup in one hand where he would take a shot, go in, and and so stupid me started to add alcohol to my training, and pretty soon I wasn't even cutting and training anymore. I was just drinking. So, yeah, lousy choice. Lousy, lousy choice. I have tried to bring alcohol and weed into too many aspects of my life, and it's fucked them up. So let's see. Yep, and this is where I went through the poll. You can see like I got a nice little hack out of it. I'm checking my blade to make sure I didn't fuck it up. And yeah, I went straight through the wooden pole with that. The sword that I'm using is folded steel. It's it's my strongest, most durable blade by far. Compensator, my Nodachi. I like big swords, and I cannot lie. Um, Large swords like this were, and you see them in every single culture. Like this goes for Western and Eastern. Yep, not no, yeah, I'm with you, buddy. You could have done better. Um, Large swords like this are reminiscent of an era. It happened. Just pick it up. Are reminiscent of an era when before civilization, before cities, before alleyways and buildings and stuff like that. So this is a field sword. So this big ass sucker is what you would use. Um, no, not great in an open field for that sort of combat. So this is a conquest blade. So big ass swords like this are what warriors used to claim and tame the land. And then as they started to move their conflicts into the city streets, the swords had to get smaller and smaller. And contrary to popular belief, the most common sword in Japan was not the katana. It was actually the wakizashi, which is the medium-sized sword, also known as the companion sword. And that was one that was more open for people to use. The katana, because of its length, was seen as a bit more dangerous. The nodachi eventually became more decorative. I don't even know what I'm saying to the camera right there. Oh, I'm checking for viewers and stuff like that. I'm seeing who's watching me. Yeah, I do love me that blade. It's hot. It's hot out there, man. Yeah. Think about it. Calm down. All right. This is me working on the coordination in my arm a bit, trying to get it back. So um, it's a very mechanical movement that you kind of got to forget about. So as you're coming down, it's shoulder, elbow, wrist. And then as you're coming back, wrist, elbow, shoulder. And you want to get that timing down so it's nice and it's fluid. And remember, you're kind of trying to get a pull and they're going across the body with a little bit of a rotation down at your core. And your power should be coming all the way up from your feet and being drawn into, and I totally forgot, my grip was bullshit out there. Your primary pressure is in your pinky. That way you've got as much leverage in your hand as possible. Trying to get out the tension, trying to relax a little bit. Nice little step. I started playing around with the footwork a little bit more. When I quit before, I had a foot injury from forcing my footwork a little bit too much. There's you really push off from the tendons. Like your back foot should be raised ever so slightly to help propel you forward, and then you got to be able to like skip up with the first. So what I had done is I was forcing myself forward way too hard and just ripped the bottoms of my feet really bad. So for a while there, like a year, I was walking around on just like like I had blades in my feet. That sucked. And then I eventually just took some time off work and let that shit heal. But yeah, that was brutal. Oh, yep, and there I am practicing with the moving forward and just the pierce, trying to get that down. My posture is not great in the slightest bit, but it's good. It's very good that I'm getting out there, and I'm yeah, this is good for me. This is very good for me. Sorry I don't have comments up right now. I seriously got to sit down and fix that. I don't have my comments running in every stream and situation like I should. But like I said, this is going up on Kick and Twitch and YouTube, and this is so I can watch and review and then edit later and have it in multiple places. Trying the one-handed and taking the extra rotation and trying to like really put it into my body, into my core, into my feet. I remember I was going to say earlier, um, a lot of say martial arts, not necessarily martial arts. Awesome. A lot of how do I put this? The application of force in military type procedures is to take circular yin um, generative cyclical energy and convert that into a linear force. That's that's everything. That's how you spin around a staff. It's all circular, and then bam, strike. With the sword, it's all a circular motion, and the fact that katanas cut so well, it's the amplification and the utilization of the curve of the blade. When you pull back a bow, you're creating a circular tension on the bow and a circular motion of yourself, so you can let it go as a linear force. And then a bullet, which I hate guns. I really hate guns. The gun was the death of the warrior class. They every culture, East and West, busted out guns and used them to mow down the warrior class, the genetically bred fighting class. Got mowed down by a bunch of farmers that then became waif cheap labor for lords and kings to use, and it's yeah, not a huge fan of guns. So, but a bullet operates by spontaneous release or conversion of potential energy to kinetic energy that expands outward in every single direction, but it's being funneled through a linear force, and that's what causes that forward propulsion from a burst of energy that actually goes out in every direction and just focuses it. So it's all circular energy, generative energy being converted to linear force. Except, a good cut should be nothing but circles. And that's why you can just keep going with absolute devastation. If you can get a nice little cycle going, if you can have the proper pirouette and spin. Speaking of which, this should be exciting. Trying a back cut. Trying really hard to get back into a meditative state of mind. That's another thing I haven't done in a few years. I quit 3.5 years ago. That's another thing I just gave up on meditation too. I gave up on a lot of stuff. I guess I went through another shutdown period when holy crap. I do not handle darkness well. That is unfortunate. That is really unfortunate. But back when I was doing this stuff 3.5 years ago, the wife was not all that thrilled with me then either. She wasn't. She was already thinking about separating then. She was thinking about separating 8 years ago. Trying to get my form, yep. A little bit better, but I tried to force it at the end. Like, I don't need to try and force it. I don't need to try and force anything. I just need to keep moving fluidly, I guess. Again, I can be applying that to what I'm going through right now. So let's see, buddy. What do you got? What do you got? Hold it above. Yep. Okay. This is where I'm actually practicing the mechanics a bit. Trying to get the coordination better. Not as bad, not great. Sorry, I just got that like tired, fatigued sense. I'm trying really hard to like stay awake and stay motivated, but I don't know. I got a lot of give up in me. And it sucks. I gotta learn to push past, get my testosterone levels back up. Yeah, dude. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna check the comments real quick, see if anybody's actually watching this, because I only have YouTube comments available to me right now. .420 avoidance, that's what I'm calling it on Kick still, I guess, and that's fine by me. Going for the big bottle now. All right, bud, what you got? This is a little surreal, but yep, chuck that down. Meh. Meh. Like I said, I don't feel like I got any decent cuts in today at all. Mosquitoes. I live in Minnesota. Mosquitoes are bad. That cut nice. That was a good feeling cut, but that's probably just the volume of water and the size of the jug. And cleaning my blade with my shirt. This is something I would never do back in the day. I was so much more anal about how I cared for my blades. Like every single time I went out and practiced, I made sure that I oiled them and wiped them and WD-40'd them and did everything to take care of them and stuff. So, yeah. Fortunately, even my attitude towards my blades has changed a lot over the years. Sucks. I'm trying to show off my cool monogram name compensator. You can't even see it on there, but that's my compensator. And talking spiel bullshit. You don't need to hear that. This is my end finish stuff. So yeah, that's my some of my bottle cutting and review type stuff. I've definitely missed that aspect of myself. It's nice to start to reconnect with that. But yeah, so that's two super short streams that have no fucking point, I guess. Thank you to who's ever watching at the moment. Appreciate it, but I gotta go shower and get this off so I can yeah. More stuff later. I'll be fishing this evening. Ooh. And in between then, maybe applying for another job so I can make it a good, I don't know, 5 or 6 today. And checking my stocks because interesting stuff is happening and markets close about the time I'm supposed to be out fishing. Yeah, adios, dude. I appreciate you a lot, man. Close that. Stop streaming. Boom. Boom.